Good day, grade 6 learners. This is English Quarter 1, Module 2, Visual Literacy Through Images. This is Ma'am De La Torre, and welcome once again to our English class. In this module, we are already in the last lesson, which is Lesson 3, Finding Meaning in Visual Media. Before we proceed to discussing a little bit about visual media, let us start with this activity first. What's in? Found on pages 14 to 15. Examine the picture and answer the questions that follow. Okay, so this is the picture that we are going to use for this activity. Okay. Now, question number 1. What is the caption of the visual? Okay, so this is the visual. The picture is the visual. Now, the question is, what is the caption of the visual? So when we say caption, that is basically an explanatory comment or designation accompanying a pictorial illustration. That is according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Or simply said, a caption is like the title. Okay. Number 2. What is the first thing that captures your interest? Looking at the picture, what caught your attention first? Number 3. What is the gender of the person in the picture? Number 4. What do you think is the work of the person? And number 5. What message does the picture want to convey? Now let's proceed to what's new, found on page 15 of our module. You know how to read a book, but do you know how to read an image or picture? Say something about the picture. Do you understand its meaning? So we will be using this picture, grade 6 learners, as our reference for our questions that follow. So the directions for this activity: answer the questions based on your own interpretation. Write your answers on a separate sheet of paper or on the answer sheet provided to you. Number 1. Who are the subjects of the image? Now, when we say subjects or subject, usually in photography, the subject is simply the object. It could be a person or an animal that is shown in the image, and usually it is the focus of the image. Number 2, where do you think is the setting? Where are they? Where are the subjects? Okay. Number 3, where does each person gaze? So I hope you still remember what gaze means. Number 4, what captures your attention first? So looking at the picture, what is that certain thing that captures your attention first, that catches your attention the first time you look at it? Okay. And number 5, what is the central message of the image? All right. So let's discuss a little bit about what is visual and what is visual media. The two activities that we just have had were actually preliminary activities regarding our topic on visual and visual media. But what is really visual and what is visual media all about? Okay? Now, what is visual? It is something you look at, such as a picture, chart, or piece of film that is used to illustrate something more appealing or easier to understand. Okay? And since a visual is something we look at, then we have to use our eyes for our sense of sight. Now, what then now is visual media? Visual media are sources of information in the form of visual representations. These can be abstractions, meaning concepts, analogs, meaning comparisons, rough illustrations, meaning drawings or sketches, or digital reproductions like pictures, movies, films of the objects. There should be an interpretation of data. Okay? And since there should be an interpretation of data, that means they are not just visuals themselves, but these visuals are being interpreted. And sources may be hosted on the internet, printed in publications, displayed through broadcast media, or otherwise disseminated or being shared or spread to anybody. And there are actually three common types of visual media, which are images, videos, and infographics. Now, you may continue reading about visual media, types of visual media, which I mentioned earlier, the images, videos, and infographics, then purpose of visual media, and online sources. Please read What Is It on pages 16 to 17. Now let's proceed to what's more, found on pages 17 to 18. Awareness check. Directions. Study the image below on COVID-19 update in the Philippines. Interpret the data and answer the questions carefully. Write your answer on a separate sheet of paper or on the answer sheet provided to you. So in this activity, you have two data. This is the first, and this is the second. Now, before you are going to answer the 5 questions that are included in this activity, allow me first to explain a little bit about each of these data so that you will be able to understand also how you're going to answer this activity. So the first table or the first datum is about COVID-19 deaths as of 4 p.m. March 24, 2020 by age range. Okay? So don't be confused by the numbers that are found on this table. Okay? The numbers at our left are actually the number of deaths, the total cases of deaths. So 0, 3, 6, 9, 12. And then the numbers at the bottom are actually the age ranges. 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, until 80 to 89. Okay? And then, the table or the graph at the bottom is about COVID-19 deaths by sex or gender as of 4 p.m. March 24, 2020. Okay? So this is actually a pie graph. And then, since both of these colors are quite similar to each other, so allow me to give to you a little clue as to what is which. Okay? So the light gray here, the light gray, this part here, is actually for the male. Okay. Meanwhile, the dark gray, this part here, okay, is for the female. Okay. So I hope that is somehow clear enough for you to be able to answer the questions that follow. Let's start. Number 1. What gender has the most number of deaths? Okay, so it's up to you which between the two data you will be using for you to answer question number 1. So again, number 1, what gender has the most number of deaths? Number 2, what age range has the highest death rate? Number 3, what age range has the least death rate? Number 4, what is the source of this update? If you look close enough, you will be able to find the source of this update. And number 5, what is the source of the basic data update? Alright, so after answering several activities that are included in Lesson 3, Finding Meaning in Visual Media, let us check what you have learned. Let's remember this. V blank M blank is very important because you can convey or share or say your message in an engaging way. It allows you to see and hear the information, making it easier to retain. Now, what are the 3 types of visual media? Number 1, they are the most common type of visual media being used by online marketers today. Number 2, these are very engaging contents. And number 3, they are visually attractive and present researched facts in ways that are very simple to understand. Now, after learning about visual media and the type of visual media, you may continue the activities on What I Can Do on page 19, Assessment on page 20, and additional activities on page 21. So that ends our Lesson 3, Finding Meaning in Visual Media. Thank you for watching and listening, Grade 6 learners. Have a great day, keep safe, and God bless us all.